Now on to Zig Zag and the detectives.
Good morning, sir. Do you have any identification, please?
Good morning. Yes, I do.
Thank you. I'll go for expecting you.
Thank you. Well, I've just arrived at a school, but it's a very different sort of school to the usual kind. In fact, it's a very special one indeed, famous all over the world. It's a school where men and women learn to become policemen and policewomen. If you wanted to join the Metropolitan Police Force, you'd start off by coming here to learn the job. The Metropolitan Police Force, of course, is the London Police Force. Here, you'd learn how to deal with all sorts of people, both good and bad. Then, after a minimum of 2 years working as a constable attached to a police station, you might get the chance to learn some more about one of these special areas of police work.
Detective training. I fancy that.
We're going to pretend that this garden shed has been burgled, and even though the door was locked, the thief has managed to get in and out through this window, which somebody has carelessly left open. But the thief has been careless too, because he's left a whacking great footprint down here. How are you getting on, Ted?
Well, we're doing very well.
Ted Horn is a senior instructor or teacher at the detective training school. He's going to pour wet plaster over the footprint to make a copy of it. But to stop the mixture from running all over the place, he's putting these metal strips into the earth to form a sort of a box around it.
Taking great care that we don't damage the shoe print as we put them in, just like that.
And now we're ready to pour in the plaster.
Looks like milk, really, when it goes in.
Right.
And I just allow the liquid to run down my hand.
Oh, I see. So that means
That's
the
it.
falling liquid doesn't damage the soil imprint.
That's it.
Yes, I see.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And you see it runs down, it finds its own level. It's quite fun, really.
Well, once the plaster had dried, we brought it up here and very carefully brushed away the soil and the dirt, and we were left with this, what is a very clear imprint of the sole of a shoe or boot. Is there anything else to be done with this now, Ted?
Not at this stage. What will happen is that the police will keep this, and then when the suspect is interviewed, we should take from him all his shoes, certainly those that look as though they could perform that mark. They will be sent to the laboratory together with this cast, and then the comparison will be made by the scientists.
Take the book in your right hand and repeat the words on the card. I swear by Almighty God that I will to answer make to all such questions as the court shall demand of me.
This may look like a law court, but it's really a large classroom in the training school.
Is your signature on the application? Yes, sir.
This student wants to go and search someone's flat, but the police cannot do that just when they feel like it. First of all, they must come to court and get written permission from a magistrate, who has to decide whether to allow the search or not.
On several occasions in the past.
Very good. I shall grant this warrant.
Thank you, sir.
Hello? Yeah, good morning, Mr. Smith. Just a minute.
Ken Smith is really a policeman, but he's pretending to be a villain. And these two students, with the written permission they got from the magistrate, have come to search his flat. Before the students arrived, Ken and I hid various articles.
Got a revolver here, which I'll... Thank you.
All right.
I'll put that under the...
Watch where he's putting everything.
These, in fact, in my sock, because they should body search me when they come in. Some forged pound notes.
Oh.
Where's that go?
Well, we'll try putting that in the teapot and see if they find that.
All right.
An item of jewellery.
All right. Stolen jewellery.
Stolen jewellery.
All right. Thanks. Is that finished now?
That's it, yes. So we'll bring on the students and we'll see how they get on.
All right, well, I'll get out of the way and leave you to it.
Right.
Here they
Come on.
come. Let's see how good they are at finding the hidden things. Ken wants to know if they'll go about it in the correct way.
Would you take your coat off, please, or I'll just assist you. Watch, I'm just going to search some jewellery there from your top
I can
pocket.
explain all that.
Yes, just one moment. Well, we're looking for stolen property, part of which is jewellery. And Sergeant Marlowe will be asking you about that jewellery presently, as your wallet and your cigarette box.
Even though they found the jewellery, they know they must carry on.
Just stand still. There's several picklocks here, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I can explain those.
Yes.
Okay, Tom.
Right, we intend searching the flat now. Keep your hands on the seat. Okay.
Oh, blimey, it's my house.
Now then, these picklocks you're telling us about. Alan,
I'm only scratching my leg, mate. I'm only scratching my leg. I'm allowed to scratch my leg.
Stand up again.
What?
Just stand up again.
I'm only scratching my leg. Oh,
What are you doing with that gun?
I've never seen it before.
I'm arresting you for being in lawful possession of a firearm and
no.
property which we suspect you stolen.
No, I've only just
You're
moved
not
on.
obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. Whatever you say may be put into writing and given in evidence. And we're taking you to Hampstead Police Station for further inquiries.
All right, fine. Okay, lovely. Yeah, well done. Yeah, I'm glad you saw about the gun there.
Of course, we forgot about that, the search and showed them.
Yeah, we should have searched and
Well,
showed
yeah,
before
this is
you...
one of the things, you know, with experience, isn't it? But at least the most important part, there was someone watching me all the time. That's the
Yeah.
that's the valuable lesson.
Yeah.
I
Did we
think
miss anything?
I think you found it. Oh, well, I'm afraid we make some special sort of tea here.
Oh, no.
There we are.
Well, I'm glad I've got nothing to hide. Of course, the police use lots and lots of different methods in their constant battle against crime, and they need all the help they can get.
One way they get a lot of help is through police television programmes. In London, there's one called Junior Police 5.
Hello. In many parts of the country, the police make radio and television programmes which ask you to keep them peeled. And from the programmes that I do in London and the Midlands, I'd like to say that some of you will make very good detectives when you grow up. Do you know that over a quarter of the stolen vehicles we ask you to look out for are found through your help? Also, many of the unsolved crimes are cleared up thanks to you. So if you do see anything suspicious, have a word with Mum and Dad first, and then get in touch with the police. This year, the CID, which is the detective branch of the police, is 100 years old. But before the days of television, radio, cars and telephones, life was very different. Here in the museum at Bow Street Police Station, we can get a pretty good idea of what life was like in those good old days. Way back in 1663, it became so dangerous for law-abiding people to walk in the streets of London that a nightly watch was set up to guard them. So maybe those old days weren't that good after all. Neither were the watchmen. They were paid less than a shilling a night, 5p to you. And so it was only the old men and the poor men who took on the job. They carried a bell, a rattle, and a lantern, and they were armed with a staff. Oh, some of them were so feeble they couldn't even lift it. They usually ran away from the criminals instead of chasing them, which wasn't quite what King Charles II intended. Maybe that's why they became known as Charlies. Come to think of it, he does look a right Charlie, doesn't he? After the Charlies came the Bow Street Runners. They were invented by a man called Henry Fielding. However, there were never more than about a dozen of them to keep order in the whole of London. Their job was to break up the gangs of criminals. Now, they didn't wear a uniform, so they were able to mix with all types of people without any suspicion being aroused. I suppose, in a way, they were the very first plainclothes detectives. However, the man who started the first real police force was this man, Sir Robert Peel. He persuaded the government that a proper police force was needed. The men wore a uniform for the first time. Their only protection was a wooden truncheon, like that one, which they normally kept out of sight beneath the tails of their coats there. They also wore top hats, so they couldn't be hurt if they were hit on the head. And it wasn't until much later that these were exchanged for helmets. To start with, the new police were hated, and often crowds gathered to jeer at them. Sometimes they threw rotten fruit and eggs at them. They were nicknamed Peelers, or Bobbies, after their founder, Sir Robert Peel. Robert, Bobbies. Got it? It's funny how that nickname has stuck with us. We still call policemen Bobbies sometimes, don't we? This new police force needed a building to be their headquarters, and one was found at number 4 Whitehall Place. The back door of the new headquarters opened into a yard. Guess what that yard was called? You're dead right, Scotland Yard. As the police force grew bigger and bigger, the headquarters moved to a larger building by the river. This was called New Scotland Yard. Then, in 1967, it moved once again, this time to a modern building in Victoria. As you can see, the name hasn't changed. It's astonishing but true that no two fingers in all the millions and millions in the world have ever had the same prints. Now just think, I have a pattern on the end of this finger which is different. You won't find one the same anywhere else. Let me tell you a story about fingerprints. About 75 years ago, a horrible crime was committed in London. 2 old people had been murdered, and their cash box was found open and their money stolen. The police found out that 2 brothers called Stratton had been seen nearby, and they were brought to the police station for questioning. The brothers were rather cocky. They were sure the police couldn't prove that they did it. However, when their fingerprints were taken, they became a bit worried. And the police were very pleased when a blurred print on the cash box was the same as the print of Alfred Stratton's right thumb. Each brother then accused the other one of murdering the old couple. But in court, the evidence was so strong, they were both found guilty. Today, there are millions of prints of criminals on file, and fingerprint experts are called out on thousands of cases every year. We have one with us today who's come from the yard specially. Brian Yates. Brian, thank you for coming along. Oh, what's this, a present?
That's the cash box you were talking about, Shaw.
Ah, the one that was responsible for convicting the Stratton brothers of murder. This is the actual box.
That is the original arrow which was placed to show the judge and the jury just where the fingerprint was.
Right just there. Now, how do you go about taking a fingerprint?
Well, it's a very simple process of putting ink on the finger and then putting the finger onto a piece of paper which records the lines on the finger.
Could you take mine?
I certainly will.
All right, then. You've got all your gubbins here, which all you see. I'll just pull my sleeve back here. Now, where do I stand?
Just like to stand just nice and comfortably there.
Right,
Fold
fine.
those
What do we
fingers
start
out of
with?
the way, and we're going to put ink on your thumb. You notice we're rolling it from one side to the other.
Now, why do you do that? Because a criminal is not going to leave a whole roll his thumb or fingers on it. He's just going to leave a little dab.
No, but he might leave the left-hand side of the thumb, or he might leave the right-hand side of the thumb, and not the middle at all.
Because that pattern then goes right the way around, does it?
Yes, it does. The pattern extends from really one side of the finger to the other. It's quite easy, if you look at your fingers, to see where the fingerprint starts on one side and where it ends on the other side.
Is there any way that the youngsters could do this at home? Because we don't want them dipping their fingers in ink and making a right old mess of Mum's furniture, do we?
No, we could be in a lot of trouble if they did that. I would suggest, if they want to look at the patterns on their fingers, that they press their fingers into a little piece of plasticine, and they will find that the ridges will be nicely recorded in the plasticine. Got it.
A set of fingerprints of Shaw Taylor, Esquire. Thank you very much, Brian. That was fascinating.
Sure, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Of course, there are many other ways and means of helping the detectives with their inquiries. Here's one.
It's called PhotoFit, and I'm going to try and give a description of Shaw Taylor to this officer here, who happens to be a PhotoFit expert. Watch carefully and see if you agree with me.
Now, what I'd like to do is go through the hairstyles till you see either the exact hairstyle or the nearest one to it.
All right, I'll try. There's so many of them, let's see.
Yes, this kit will make 15 billion faces, but it won't produce a photograph.
That's it.
What number is that?
F78.
F78.
Yes, that's the one.
All right.
So out comes F78.
Carry on to the chin.
All right. There's an awful lot of hair in here.
Yes, 245 hairstyles.
I see. Are there really? Ah, C36.
36. Let's try 36. C36. Now,
Yes.
before you go any further, let you have the... How's that?
Well, it looks like the middle of his face is
It
missing.
does.
As near as I can see, that's going to be right.
All right,
We'll
carry
see some more details.
We'll carry on with the eyes next.
Right, eyes next. Oh, yes, millions of eyes. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, the eyes are much more difficult.
They are.
There's one here. E41 looks about right. Let's have a look at that.
How does that look to you?
No.
No?
No, they're not right.
All right, we'll try another
Try
one.
and find another one. I did try another, and another, and another, until eventually I ended up with these. Oh, that's much better.
Carry on with another.
I'd never seen something else. In the end, I thought this one was about right. That's very good. So the next one is I found the mouth much easier. I don't know why, because there were hundreds to choose from. It's taking shape now, don't you think? After I decided on the spectacles, the sergeant lengthened the hair with a wax crayon, and there it was. How was that look, now? That looks exactly like short hair.
Doesn't you happy with that? Or
Absolutely.
all right, we'll stick.
It is a good likeness, isn't it? But remember, the most obvious way of cutting down on crime is by helping to prevent it in the first place. What you're about to see now need never have happened if the people who live in this house had only remembered to close that downstairs window before they went out.
Hey!
Emergency? Which service do you require?
Police. Well, what you've just seen didn't really happen. We were play acting. Nevertheless, you might easily see something like that in real life. And if you do, don't run up and ask him what he's doing. He might be dangerous. Go and find a policeman or a grown-up and tell them what you've seen. Now, do you think you could give a good description of the burglar to the police? Well, now's your chance to find out. You saw the actor who was playing our thief much closer than I did. Do you think you could pick him out? One of these men is the burglar. The question is, which one? Have you got him yet? Have another look. Okay, it's time to find out who was right. Will the guilty man step forward, please? You could have fooled me. I thought it was the man on the end. I tell you what, though, I did notice something peculiar about one of the other men. See if you can see what I mean.
I don't know why you're staring at me. I ain't done nothing. Or on the other hand, you know, I suppose you could say it's a fair cop. What do you reckon?
Sure. I thought it was you.
I'll tell you one thing, Max, I'm never going to grow a beard.
Makes your face itch.
Right.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Don't forget, keep 'em peeled. Thanks a lot, fellas.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that wasn't so bad, was it?
Oh, I enjoyed that.